Now from Atlanta News First Plus, this is Sports Tonight.
Here we go.
Here we go.
We started off with Scott rubbing his hands together.
You know when the show
That means
starts.
I'm afraid.
You know when
afraid.
You know when the show starts with me rubbing my hands together.
It's going to be
it's a lot to talk about.
What are we doing here?
There's a lot to talk about. First of all, welcome to Sports Night, everybody. On a Tuesday, I'm sports producer Scott Pennyman here with the great Emily Gagnon. Emily, how are you feeling?
You're great too, Scott.
Yeah.
I mean, I told you when I found out you were working today, the excitement overload that I got.
You were shocked.
Yes. I thought I was going to have the great Ellie today, but I have you. And I say that as if, I keep saying, I keep having to argue because I keep
Argue with who?
I have to keep, whoever I have on here with me, if it's not Ellie, I keep having to defend myself. Like, you're great too, but Ellie.
Well, there's levels of greatness and every.
Yeah. So 1A, 1B, you know what I'm saying? We're all good.
There's levels of greatness and everyone here is great.
But we got her opinion on a lot of things yesterday that I'm
good.
sure are going to bleed it over into today. We'll get to hear, how strongly you feel about these topics. And
So we're starting.
yeah, let's get this cracking.
So let's get it cracking with the Falcons. Looks like the quarterback carousel just sort of keeps going around and around and around. And now it's back to Taylor HEINICKE as the starter against the Colts on Sunday. Big must win. Well, totally a must win. After that debacle, I didn't get a chance to talk about that yesterday, that Carolina loss. 9-7, right? Didn't
That's
give
like
up a
the
touchdown.
ugliest score. I mean, come on, guys.
Don't give up a touchdown, but lose to them. And obviously, Ritter had that late interception with about 7 minutes left. One of the most horrendous interceptions I think that he's thrown this season.
And that's
I don't
saying
know.
a lot.
Right, because he's thrown several. There's a lot of interceptions to choose
10
from.
interceptions.
That's a lot.
I know he's fumbled the ball at least 6 times. That's at least 16 turnovers. Could be more.
16 turnovers by one man.
I mean,
Wow.
he's thrown at least 10. No, not at least. He has thrown 10
He has thrown
interceptions.
10.
If you want to look up how many fumbles he's had, but I know he's had at least 6.
That's crazy. That's a lot of. Well, I guess it's no surprise then that he's headed back to the bench.
No, it is a surprise. You want to know why? Because
It is?
head coach Arthur Smith told us when they got back from the bye week that there would be no more changes. Whoever they named their starter when they got back after that bye week, after they lost to the 1-win Arizona Cardinals, that whoever that was going to be the person they rode with. Well, now they're riding with somebody else. So that tells me that there are a lot of things going on. When you lose, you start panicking. You no longer stick to your word, and that's what's happening right now. Arthur Smith is not sticking to his word. I mean, no surprise there. What's guaranteed in life? Change. That's what's happening right now. But quite frankly, this is him, to me, fishing for anything he can to save him.
Now, you didn't really buy that he wasn't going to go back to Taylor
I absolutely
HEINICKE,
did
you?
because between
You
the
did?
two, I don't know which one's worse.
Yeah, it's
Heck, let's go with a third stringer. Why not? Let's just, you know what? Let's just do it all. Okay. Yesterday, when he had his press conference before it was announced that Taylor was going to be the guy, he said, "Well, I know it's not going to be Logan, their third string quarterback." Well, you know what, Coach? Why not? We already know what Taylor HEINICKE can do. We've seen it for 10 years now. We already know what Desmond Ritter can do. We've seen it for enough games now. So let's put Logan Woodside in and give him a little bit of cred. Why not? You saw the Seahawks win with whoever last night.
Drew Lock.
Yeah.
They had Drew Lock at quarterback, and they got it done.
I mean, obviously Drew Lock was great in college.
Yeah.
And wait, didn't he go to Mizzou?
He went to Mizzou.
Yeah. Ellie didn't
was
look up when the name was said, so I was like, wait a minute, I should maybe double guess myself.
Drew
here
Lock
on
was a
where
good
he went.
quarterback at Mizzou.
Yes. And he got drafted by the Broncos?
Got drafted pretty high by I think second or third round by the Broncos. Didn't really work out in Denver. Didn't really have they weren't going to move forward with him as the quarterback. So he was traded to Seattle in the Russell Wilson trade, and he really has sat. I believe he didn't even start his first game.
Graduated with him.
Okay.
They're dogs. They're friends.
But no, I mean, just looking at the Falcons right now, yeah, I mean, they're just grasping for straws at this point. They're in a desperate spot here. They still have.
Well, it reeks of desperation.
Right, and they're on playoff life support, right? By 3 games left, and they need some things to happen.
They don't deserve the playoffs.
Well, I don't know if anybody in their division really deserves the playoffs.
Yeah, somebody deserves it.
Well,
After that
somebody
ugliness,
going.
somebody's doing it.
Yeah, I mean, somebody's going just because they
Yeah.
have to, and that.
Who's the least worst of all of them? You know.
I don't know. I mean, right now, I guess it's like a week-to-week thing, right? And when you look at Tampa Bay, obviously Baker Mayfield comes off the really big game. where he had a perfect
At
quarterback
least
rating in
Baker,
Lambeau Field.
yeah, I would take Baker over Desmond Ritter.
Sure. I mean, he's accomplished more, and he's
I'd
look.
also take whoever there is at quarterback for the Saints too.
It's kind of crazy when you think about Baker Mayfield, right? He's probably this is statistically probably Baker Mayfield's best season. When you look at it, I think he throws like 24 touchdown passes, just 8 interceptions. It's kind of crazy what is going on in Tampa because I believe they kind of sent him down. Well, they didn't send him. He signed there. They thought this was going to be a tanking season.
I thought they thought.
Right. I mean, that's what they thought. I mean, let's be real. I mean, that's what teams do, right? So after Tom Brady left, that was probably a situation that most people thought they were playing for the #1 overall pick, and they probably thought that their head coach Todd Bowles was going to be a lame duck and kind of just coach this season out and be fired. But surprise, surprise, those seem to be the kind of situations that Baker likes the most. Baker Mayfield loves those situations where
He's gritty.
Where we're counting against him.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at him this past week against Green Bay, that loss, I mean, who expected that? I mean, the Falcons lose. They lose a terrible loss to the Panthers. And then Baker Mayfield has a perfect quarterback rating in Lambeau Field. They beat the Packers 34-20. He throws 4 touchdown passes and just buries the Falcons even further in the NFC South. I mean, they've got a little hill to climb now, and I don't know if the Falcons are going to be able to climb themselves out of it.
I mean, listen, I'm checked out.
Okay.
But
well,
they actually face a team with a winning record this week.
Okay.
All right. The Colts seem to be pretty hot right now.
They are.
They're
Gardner
8-6. So the Falcons might do the most Falcons thing ever and beat the good
Find a way to win
team.
it.
Yeah. I mean, this is what they do.
Gardner
Right?
Minshew's done a good job with the coach though this year.
Yeah, I mean,
He's-
it's just to
he's
me,
balled out.
This team, you don't expect them to win, they win. You expect them to win, they lose. Like, it's just all over the place. But I don't like the fact, and I understand coaches can make changes.
Yes.
But I don't like the fact that we were told one thing and now something else is happening.
All right. Well,
But you are giving yourself what you think is your best chance to win. But we were told that when they came back from their bye week.
You feel
that
lied to,
Desmond
Emily?
Ritter gave them the best chance to win. I just don't like the inconsistency that we're getting from the coach. I don't like
I'm
the
more concerned with the inconsistency they're
indecisiveness.
getting from the quarterback.
Yeah, but it all starts up there. That's
Yeah,
where it
I-
starts.
I
It
agree.
starts with Arthur Smith. And if I were Terry Fontenot and or Arthur Blank, you're evaluating Smith on these decisions. And if I'm bothered about it, I already know Fontenot has to be bothered about it, that my man said one thing, now he's going back on his word and doing something else. And he specifically said they wouldn't, do the whole going back and forth with the quarterbacks.
Yeah.
It's just desperation to me. And it tells me that he's lost. I don't know if he's lost the locker room, but he's
Lost some games.
Yes, he's lost a sense of something, and,
Well-
and it's just, I don't like it.
Well, before we hear from Arthur Smith here, let me take this opportunity to pat the team I root for on the back, right? And
Let's do it.
why at the same time kick the Falcons while they're down, right? So when you look around the
Let's do
NFL, there's a lot of teams right now who have had quarterback issues, right? Because a lot of
So many
quarterbacks have gone
injuries.
down, so many injuries at that position.
Yeah.
So I think if you're a person like Arthur Blank and you're looking around the NFL and you're seeing other teams that are surviving, if not thriving, without their starting quarterback. You see Joe Burrow go down in Cincinnati. Browning steps right in there, has a couple 300-yard passing games. The Bengals are about as good as they've been all season long. The Browns have been through 37 different quarterbacks this season. Not really 37. Only four different quarterbacks this season. They're on Joe Flacco, who was sitting on his couch about 5 or 6 weeks ago. And the Browns are 9-5 and very much in the playoff hunt. You look at the Colts. They lost their rookie quarterback this year. Gardner Minshew stepped right in there, and he has that team right in the playoff hunt. So when you look around the NFL, there's been other teams who have had inconsistencies at the quarterback position due to injuries, and they're thriving and they're still finding a way to win games. And here the Falcons are falling. So I think
That's going to
that
be
comes
his
back on the head coach.
But yes, that's going to be what he lives or dies on. Desmond Ritter is going to be the biggest either mistake or perhaps, I don't know how, it's not going to be the best not mistake.
I'll tell you what. Let Arthur explain it, right?
Yeah.
Let's hear from him.
No, Jeff, I mean, obviously, you get to this point in the season, and, like I was talking about earlier, when you have that opportunity and you're kind of in control of your own destiny and you got 2 division games and you don't get it done, you go through a range of emotions. I think that's human. You put a lot into it, and But that's what's those guys are, you know, different than a lot of teams I've been around. I mean, it was as honest as we've always been. And you talk about how we want to stop having this disappointment. We do. It takes a shared accountability. And again, that starts with me. And it's all of us. It's the little things that have added up in the fine line of winning some of these games. But nobody's in there is defeated. We can be disappointed, be frustrated, but we got nobody to blame for ourselves, starting with me. And that's what we'll do. And we'll come back, and those guys, that's what we believe. And that's our job, too. There's 3 games left. You never know what can happen. But all that matters is when we come back in Wednesday, is getting ready to go beat Indianapolis, because that's the only thing we can control. What happened yesterday is over, and you know, you correct what went wrong, and you have, you know, honest conversations, and anything that you need to fix, and know that there's a job to do.
Have you gotten any indication at all that either you lost the locker room or that they're not?
No, those are common questions, Jeff, you know, and I understand. No. I mean, again, you just got to talk man to man with everybody in there, and the actions are going to show you. And you've been around sports your whole life, and you know, you wouldn't play that hard. I mean, that was an ugly, but that was a physical game, and it's been like almost every game this season. Those guys grind it out, and they play with a lot of passion. But we got a couple things we've got to fix, so we're not on the wrong side of the win column there.
As you look back on a lot of this when it comes to the quarterback, how do you explain how it got to this point?
In terms of what?
In terms of having to go potentially back and forth, it's just something that you made it clear you didn't want to do.
No, you don't. And I mean, that's not what you want with a team. I mean, that's usually not a great situation to have. I mean, you want to be fair and objective, and obviously give people an opportunity. I mean, so there was a belief in them, and no matter what happens, I mean, you know, doesn't mean anybody's career is over, but we have to do what's best for this team right now. But yeah, I mean, you go back to how you got here, Mike. I mean, there's a lot of thoughts in there, and you got to live with any decision you make, and that's the way it goes, right? But there's a lot of things, you know. There's a lot of you can take away and show a lot of the good, or you can deal with the reality. And there's some things that will always get you beat in this league if you don't take care of the football and you don't win some situations. So a lot of it is on the quarterback, just like it is the responsibility of the head coach. But there's also other things that go into it that we can all do better.
What's on the interception? You know, I mean, it's week 15. The option of either tucking and running or just flipping the ball out of bounds at that point. It feels like regression at this point. Why doesn't he know that those are the better options than trying to force a bad ball at this point?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, when we all saw it, and like I said, you get in those situations in that type of game, what you're trying to do, and you know, that was a look that we had off the big plays to Bijan the week before. Obviously, Hodge wasn't able to get through. Brown kind of blew it up. You know, Dez got out of it, and you know, that was kind of the theme on some of those keepers. They were essentially going to be one or design runs, and you know, as you're going into this, and this what I always hate about this, because there is a shared sense. You know, sure I could have called something different, and then the same thing about with Dez, and you never want to. But when you have that responsibility of the football and knowing the situation, you know, those are critical mistakes, and he'd be the first one to tell you. And there's a lot of good that Dez has done. And again, blame doesn't all go to him, but that's the same thing with the head coach. That is your responsibility, especially as a quarterback.
For last year, this team was third in EPA per rush, third in success rate rushing the ball. This year, they're 25th and 23rd in those stats, respectively. Do you have any feeling as to why that is, and do you feel like that's an identity that you had that you just haven't been able to rely on this year?
Well, you know, I think, you know, you look at total yards, right? Still been productive. I don't think we've gotten some of the big runs that we did. You know, some of the things that we maybe did a little bit different are a little bit better. You know, I think of some of the stuff like the Arizona game. You know, if you look at total yards, it was okay, that was, if you just look at the final stat line, but I didn't tell you the whole story. I didn't think we ran the ball very well, and that was kind of the challenge going into New Orleans, which was one of our better rushing games. And then, you know, and if you just come so run dependent, we've got other players you're trying to mix and match and kind of with the game plan. Then yesterday that, you know, we did not run the ball well at all. And some of it, you know, you got to give Carolina credit. There's some other things that we can do better. But there's a lot of factors. There's some couple things we've done a little bit different. But yeah, that's when you're looking at those advanced statistics. You know, the total yards sometimes doesn't tell you a story. Sometimes, yeah, take it with a grain of salt, but that is something that we need to do a better job of.
I remember after that Saints game, you were saying like that felt like us.
It did.
Felt like that game felt like the identity
Mhm.
the team had played with previously. And I'm just kind of curious as to whether you feel like, or why the team hasn't been able to do that consistently.
Well,
I mean,
you know, a couple things, right? I mean, I would say you go back to the Jets game and you look at those conditions against a good defense, and you know we did what we had to do to win that game, and so it was kind of ugly. This conditions were worse than that, and so since that Saints game, there's 2 games right there, and you know you're down a couple guys, you're trying to negate a couple of their good players, and a couple of things we missed, and you got to give them credit for. And you know that did hurt us yesterday because that was a little bit of the strategy going into it. Where certainly felt conservative, and then other times that they got us off track a few times, and that certainly hurt there too. But I got confidence in our guys. You know, I know what those guys in there are made of, and I know what we'll do this week. And it's a prideful group. And, you know, hopefully get some of those guys healthy. That'll certainly help as well.
Do you have a message for the fans? Pretty despondent at this point in time after.
Sure. And, I mean, I understand. I mean, that's a responsibility. That's my job, right? And that's never lost on me. When you take these jobs, I mean, you're fortunate as hell. You know, you get those. It's really lucky to get to do what you love to do, and you care deeply about, you know, the organization. It's not just about you. It's about the players. It's about everybody that works here, and it is about the fans, because otherwise you wouldn't have this job. And certainly we're not where we want to be, and we've lost some close games, but it's not over, and we will die trying to make sure we get this right and just go win this game, and let's see what happens. But I understand. I mean, that is a responsibility, and it's a burden you carry, and you're not a victim. I mean, you don't ever want to lose that passion and love that you get to go do this job, because it is a privilege. And thankfully, we still have some life. But I understand the frustration. We want to win, and that's your job, is to win.
Following that up, I know it's 3 weeks left in the season, and there's a lot of factors, obviously. But are you able at all to stand back and think, this is where I have failed as a head coach at all?
Look, Jeff, I mean, I think anytime you're not where you want to be, I don't think sometimes you look at failure, and certainly you can say it's catastrophic, or it can teach you a valuable lesson. You know, sometimes what is the fine line? I mean, things happen sometimes where you feel like you're close and you're not getting the results you want, and there's a couple of things you need to tweak, and then you have that breakthrough. You know, it'd be one thing if we were getting blown out and it's just hopeless. It's frustrating when you've been in some of these close games and you haven't gotten it done for a variety of reasons. But if you look at those setbacks, and as a moment that, as long as you still got life, you can improve. I mean, that could be your greatest success can come after that, and if that's what you honestly believe, or you become a victim and look to blame others. So our reality is, right, it's what we are, 6-8. We're going to keep fighting, and we got to go win this game. Let's see what happens. But yeah, I mean, you spend a lot of time. I mean, you debrief after every game, and you kind of look where you are. There's a lot of things you think that are a lot better, but the results aren't where they want to be. So why is that? And that's what you're always constantly evaluating. Now, Jeff.
Emily, want to hear something funny?
Yeah.
Did you hear the story of Tommy DeVito?
I didn't. That's why I haven't looked it up because I want you to tell me.
All right, so Tommy DeVito.
I know you sent it to me, but I refuse to read it.
Yeah, so Tommy DeVito.
Get this right, because this is my first time hearing it.
The rookie quarterback for the New York Giants.
Okay.
He's from kind of took over this year. He's from Jersey. He's a Jersey native. So he steps in this year, has some pretty solid success, wins a couple games for the Giants. And
wait, is this the guy that they asked, what would you do if you weren't playing quarterback in the NFL? And he's like, I'd just get ripped and
Is that what he
be a
said?
teacher. I don't know if that's the same guy, but I'm going to have to look that
It
up.
could be. I don't know. But
He's got a
anyway,
personality.
yeah. But anyway, he steps in there and he does a really good job as quarterback for the Giants. Well, a solid job. He won some games, right? So obviously, with that, when you're in New York City, comes some fame, glitz, and glamour, and people are going to want your time and attention. So he gets offered a chance at a New Jersey pizzeria.
Yes.
Called Caniglio's Old Fashioned Pizzeria, and they offered him $10,000 to make an appearance there and come in, meet people, take pictures, all that good stuff, right?
Okay.
So they offer him $10,000. He agrees upon it. His agent agrees upon it. Everything's supposed to be good, right? Everything's solid. So then they win a game. They have that. He wins another game. So then his agent calls them and says, "Look, yesterday's prices are not today's prices."
They aren't. That's
And
right.
so he doubles it and says he wants 20 bands. He says he wants 20 bands for
$20,000.
Tommy DeVito to appear at this pizzeria with people. And the owner said, "Tommy, kick rocks.
Okay.
We ain't giving you $20,000 to do nothing."
Okay.
So, and then Sunday, DeVito goes out and puts up a stinker against the Saints, and they lose 24-6. So it makes you think, was that karma?
Yes.
Was he getting too big for his britches, as my mom used to say?
No, I think that's a great point, Scott. I don't listen. I always say good people get good things, bad people don't. So
It's crazy.
listen, he is lucky that he was offered $10,000.
I agree. I
But
take the 10 bands.
If your price is higher than 10 or higher than 20 or higher than whatever, put that price out there. And if somebody doesn't want to pay it, then don't pay it. That's what I have to say.
I just feel bad the guy reneged, right? I mean, he says $10,000.
Right.
I'll come there. I'll meet people. I'll take pictures, all that stuff. And it's $10,000. That's a deal. From where I'm from, that's a deal, right? I mean,
Right.
once
We
you tell a
shook on
guy.
it. That's right.
We shook on it. Once you tell a guy, I'll come for the 10 bands, it should be all good. But then you change it when you're in the, you know what? I won this week. We're going to make it 20. I don't blame them for saying kick rocks, man. No, I'm not giving you $20,000.
Can you find out how much his contract is worth?
I think he's getting like, I don't know, what's Tommy DeVito's salary? Contract. All right, so his total contract, he's a 3-year, $2.7 million contract. I mean,
So that's like
he's making some money.
less than $1 million a year.
Yeah. So I mean, he has an average annual salary of $900,000. So he's making some good money, but he's in New York, right? I mean, it's not,
They get
that's
that
like
throughout
half.
the season, but I'm just wondering, like, what he makes, I guess, like, weekly.
Oh, you
where-
break that down. Probably what, about 30, 40,000 a week, maybe.
Right. So, like, $10,000 is a lot of money.
Sure.
For
Almost anybody.
yeah, but I was trying to say, like, could I refuse $10,000 if I was making, whatever?
Yeah.
Because everything's relative, right?
Sure.
But it sounds like based off of his salary, win or loss, he could have used 10 grand, or better yet.
I've never seen a 10 grand that you couldn't use.
Hey, Scott, but better yet, it's Christmas time. Give it to like the boys and girls
Right.
club somewhere for Christmas,
Right.
and have them spend it on gifts. Like, come on,
This man wanted his 20.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
All right, so let's shift a little bit to Brock Bowers, right?
It's a
I mean,
great story. Thank you.
So Brock Bowers today was talking down at there. He, as they prepare for their bowl game, Orange Bowl, right, against Florida State
Miami. Yep.
in Miami.
Yep.
Brock Bowers was asked, was he going to enter the 2024 NFL draft?
Why do we ask this question to this man?
Brock said he wasn't sure, though. Are you buying that?
No, absolutely not. I'm not buying 1 second of that. If he comes back for a 4th season after being injured, he's insane. I know he loves football and he loves the dogs and he loves everything about Kirby.
He loves playing the UGA, right? That's what you told me.
He loves it. He loves football, but like go love football in the NFL where you're going to get millions of dollars, drafted in the top 10, top 5, I hope, because you are that kind of talent. Coaches hate preparing for you. You are the best tight end in the country 2 years in a row. Should have
I
been
agree.
3 years in a row. Okay,
I
his
agree.
freshman season, he should have got the Mackey Award. So what, you're going to come back for a 4th season to win the Mackey Award again, to maybe win a national championship, but who knows if you'll be able to do that with that really tough schedule. I mean, come on, go to the NFL. You got injured. This is your, like, sign. It's time. I think he could have left after his sophomore season. He's big, he's fast, he's physical. He has no business playing in college ball anymore. He has outplayed college ball. How many losses does he have in 3 years? What, 2?
Like 2 maybe? Yeah, I mean, he
They didn't lose any last year,
Yeah.
and they lost one the year before, and then one this year. So he has 2 losses in his college career. He has 2 rings. He has 2 trophies, saying that he's the best tight end in the country. Well, what else do you want to?
It's time to say goodnight.
What
right?
else do you want to win? You won national titles. You won the SEC championship. I mean, he's won everything.
Well, this is kind of silly season, right? I mean,
I can't even believe I'm entertaining this right
like
now.
most of the guys get asked, like even Marvin Harrison Jr. said the same thing, right? And we know damn well he's entering the 2024 NFL draft. I mean, there's almost no chance he comes back to school, right? I mean, same
Why
with Brock
do
Bowers.
they do
right?
this?
Well, there's nothing more to talk about. I mean, these games are kind of boring. Unless you're playing for a college football championship, it's kind of like a glorified exhibition, really, So
And I wouldn't play either. I wouldn't play
I
in
agree.
Miami. Sorry.
I'm
I don't
with you.
really like. A lot of times, I don't agree with players that do that. But in this scenario, in this case, I'm not playing in the bowl game if I'm Brock Bowers.
I agree.
And Dog fans won't even be mad at you. Dog
No.
fans love you. You have played your part for 3 seasons
I'm with
now.
you.
You went out there 26 days after getting surgery and played.
balled out.
Okay, I watched you limp off the field with the rest of the nation. I interviewed you after the games where you're in pain, like like I could see it, visible pain.
Yeah.
And you just, worked
Kept
your
going.
way through it. You were a tough son of a gun, and it's time to take that strength and those talents,
To the NFL.
correct, and get paid. Top 10, you're going to get paid $30 million off the bat, right? Just sign your name on the paper, $30 million. Listen, if it weren't honestly, I don't know who's going to go number 1 overall, and you might think this is wild for me to say. I know tight ends don't get drafted number 1 overall. It's not something
No,
that happens.
no.
But what I want to say is that if you take Brock Bowers, you are going to have an immediate starter in him who really can make a difference on your team.
Brock, go take that money and go play for the Raiders or the Titans next year and go 7-10. Go take that money. Get out of here.
Do whatever you
Go to the
want.
NFL.
And his girlfriend is super cute.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
take her with you. She's gorgeous.
And the IG models are going to be super cute
No,
once you get to the NFL.
I don't know her
Those are
name.
coming.
I've only seen pictures of them
Okay.
posted together, and she is gorgeous. So, Brock, don't listen to what Scott just said.
I'm just
all
saying.
right? Go to the NFL. Stop entertaining anything else.
Saw what happened
and you've done everything you can do at the college level, and just go enjoy your life, get paid for your talents. And I'm going to stop entertaining this because you got to go to the NFL.
That's cool.
There's no way.
That's cool. So real quick, let's talk about a team who isn't doing much at the pro level right now. So the Hawks won last night. They beat up on the lowly
I don't know
Detroit.
if it's beat up.
Well, they beat them. Okay, I mean, just continue. Look, the Pistons have lost 24 straight basketball games.
Single digits, though, Scott.
They're all losses. I mean, just 24. Like I didn't even think it was.
Loss, I think.
Yeah. So I mean, look, I'm rooting for them to. And there's nothing personal against Detroit, but I want them to continue to lose at least a few more games,
Why?
right? Because
Monty
the team that
Williams, I
holds the
love
all.
him.
Well, it's because
He
the,
played for the Magic.
I know. Look, I think Monty Williams. I think he's going to do a good job there. Look, Detroit, stay the course. Don't get rid of Monty Williams. Keep him there. Stay the course. I think he's going to make that team better. However, for more important reasons and more personal reasons to me, the team that holds the record for the most losses in an NBA season, most consecutive losses, is the Cleveland Cavaliers. The year after LeBron James left, back in 2010, 2011, where they lost 26 consecutive
Okay.
games. So I want them to get that
Lose a
record
few
off
more?
our backs. Of
All right.
course, get that
Lose
record
a
off our
few
backs,
more and-
so we don't have to worry about that no more. All right, let's get that.
I should have known there had to be
Of course, an ulterior motive.
I would say a Cleveland tie
Cleveland motive.
to what you were saying. And it never even crossed my mind. That's how sneaky you were with that one.
Yes,
I never
yes.
thought
I
to
snuck that
myself,
in there,
Scott
didn't I?
is going to,
Yeah.
take this personally.
Yes.
But I just feel bad because Monty Williams did such a great job with Phoenix. And I think we've talked about this before. I mean, he took the Suns to
did.
the finals. And it's just kind of been like up all the way down since, right?
Well, look, he took over a team that he knew what the situation was. I mean, that's a young Pistons
Did he
team.
know that kind of situation though? And they have injuries.
Well, we know, yeah, but we
And
knew they
one
weren't
of the
going to be
guys, I
very
forgot
good.
his name, dropped 43 points last night.
Like Cade Cunningham?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you for refreshing my
Yeah,
memory.
now he's a really good player. Look, I think he's going to get that team going in the
I
right
hope so. It's
direction.
gonna take
but,
some time, though.
But, it's going to take some time, but they'll be okay. Look, let's get out of here. It's been fun, Emily, right? On a Tuesday here. Thank you for Sports Tonight. We'll be back
Whoop, whoop.
at you tomorrow. Everybody out there,
Brock, get out of
enjoy.
there.
Have fun. Later.